Hello, welcome to the second day of Bears E3 picnic, where we're going to be looking at Microsoft, Square, Enix. I really need to still remember to add the Enix on. And how
Not
long
not
is it?
just Square.
Yeah, and how long has it been now?
Like a decade, probably longer.
Longer, yeah. I
Yeah.
I want to say they might have even become Square Enix around the time the first Kingdom Hearts came out.
Is it that long ago? Bloody hell.
Because obviously it was SquareSoft and Enix, the
Yeah.
two big Japanese RPG manufacturer developers. Yeah,
Been a while.
yep,
Yeah.
it has. Anyone wants to fact check us in the comments? Feel free. And we'll be touching on the PC gaming show as well. It is just me and Connor here today because Matt was sent on a side quest to collect some items and has got stuck in the Yorkshire Moors, so he is not with us. However, he did manage to deliver us a video of his hot takes, his bear's porridge, if you will.
A lot. We've all got stuck in the Yorkshire Moors at one time or another.
Yep. And that video will be uploaded alongside this one after we've done recording. So, let's start with Square Enix.
Okay.
It's smaller, I think, but we've got a lot more to talk about, I think, tonight than we had yesterday.
A lot more games. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly a lot more games.
I mean, even just Square themselves here, it- not to ruin my thoughts on it too much before we dive in, but it's better than Gearbox. And
no.
no, it was a very low bar, but it's a pretty similar length to what the Gearbox show was.
Yeah, but there's actually games here.
There is. Not like tons, but they showed reasonable amounts from what they did have.
So, do we start with a big one first?
Yeah, and just go through it in order.
So they launched the event with a game we own. I'd actually say we owned it was coming. I'd forgotten they were making.
I'd forgotten it was Eidos Montreal that were making it.
Yeah, but yeah, a Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Yeah, which, yes, please.
Yes, that is completely single player.
And coming this year.
Coming
October,
this
I
year,
believe.
October. Yeah. With what we're going to be talking about in the Microsoft section as well, this is going to be a stacked holiday season.
It probably is, especially as the first half of the Microsoft conference was. It felt like it was a lot of stuff for next year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, 2022 is gonna be pretty good. I guess the COVID delays are still hitting here, and that's kind of affected this year. But end of this year seems all right.
Especially if Sony does keep their Horizon promise, which I'm still doubtful on. But
I would say promise is a strong word, given they did admit that it isn't set in stone.
yeah. But after that, they came out and said, "No, we're pretty sure. We're pretty sure we can do it."
Yeah. Maybe if we crunch. That's the usual attitude, I believe.
So, and just what I say, crunching is bad, folks.
Yes, we do not endorse the crunch. Delay it to next year. It's fine.
Yeah, I think there was a meme I saw. It was a picture of Sonic, and it said,
the start of every good meme.
Yeah, hand-drawn picture of Sonic. It's like, I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less, and I'm not kidding.
Pretty much sums it up. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so back on track. Guardians of the Galaxy. Only one player character as well.
Yeah, you play as Star-Lord, but you do control the abilities of the others.
Just noticing that in the image that is on the debut trailer, the thumbnail, Groot is hugging a purple llama with a ginger wig.
I have not seen this image.
Yeah.
But I approve.
But yeah, solo play Star-Lord. I mean, I've got to say right now, if you want to play this game, guys, you should probably get it before it eventually gets taken off all stores due to losing music licenses.
There's a lot.
Yes.
They said in interviews afterwards that they've got around 30 tracks from the 80s
Yeah.
licensed.
In 10 years' time, I mean, I imagine they'll just potentially just strip the music out and re-release it, but that is going to eventually, those licenses are going to run out, and this
They
may
always
be
do.
delisted from stores.
Yep, they always do. This is the death of many a game over the past,
Yep.
15 years.
Game preservation, it's something that is important and doesn't happen.
No.
There should be a game archive like for various countries' film archives.
There should be. It would be nice, wouldn't it? But it's never going to happen.
It might eventually, but
when it's too late.
I mean, an argument could be said though same could be said of many in the industry. It was too late by the time they finally started taking. Look at how much early television is just
gone.
Yeah, there's early films that just don't exist anymore. Film, I think, had it a little bit better.
I think it's fair better just by sheer expense.
But then, even then, going back, right, what we think of as the big silent films now, they're big because they're the ones that did survive. Yeah. Like, there's countless ones that didn't. And video games are still early in its life.
Very young as a medium.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking to the other things that we're talking about here.
Outside of the earliest days, I mean, we've been alive for most of it.
Yeah.
Like,
especially once you get to home gaming, because obviously you have a lot of arcade gaming before this.
Yeah.
But once you get to home gaming, we've experienced the vast majority of that.
I mean, there's the original batch before video games died.
Mm-hmm.
So your Ataris, your Intellivisions,
yeah.
And then obviously Nintendo hit and video gaming was born anew.
Pretty much, yeah. It's weird, like when you look at like the age of the average gamer now is younger than us, obviously. And you have entire like genre, like Metroidvania as a genre name. You have people who have never played either of those games. Yet Metroidvania, they still understand as a concept because of just also, what it is.
How long ago was the last Metroid?
A while. A good while.
Actually, think about it. It'd be 3DS, wouldn't it? It'd be the remake of...
They have one on the 3DS.
Yeah, there's a remake of Metroid 2.
Oh, okay. Oh, I mean, a remake is a little bit different, I suppose. But
it was
last
a
original one.
I mean, but it was a full-on kind of...
Resident Evil style remake.
Yeah, it wasn't like...
Fair enough.
Just a remaster. Because Metroid 2 was a Game Boy game.
Yeah.
And, because it was... Metroid was on NES. Metroid 2 was on Game Boy. And then you had Super Metroid on the SNES.
And maybe there'll be another one at some point in the
Metroid Prime
future.
4 is in theory happening.
Yes, we just to say this, I do not expect to hear a word about it at tomorrow's Nintendo conference.
Neither do I.
Not going to happen, but it'd be nice.
So one thing I will say as well, just before we move on, back on track. If we're not going to get it announced here, but when we do announce the Switch, I know this has been said in many a space, but Super Nintendo Switch is really what we need to be calling it, not Switch Pro.
Yes, 100%.
Like, if they don't call it that, it's like, what are you even?
Yeah, but you could say that about a lot of Nintendo's naming choices.
Yeah.
The Wii U.
That is arguably the thing that killed the console.
Yeah, because no one understood that it was a console and not an expansion or an add-on.
So yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy, licensed music.
We'll kill it, but assuming you want to play it in the next 5 years, you're good.
Fine. And it looks great.
It
looks really good.
And I appreciate they showed a trailer that was like, okay, you get into the tone, it's Guardians, a little bit of background. I love the hell out of the fact they had Dan Abnett on there.
Yeah, Dan Abnett talking about it.
I believe he is writing the game as well, but still, like, that was cool to have some recognition, more so than I suspect any of the movies have ever offered him. And then, a pretty meaty 5 or 6 minute gameplay chunk that wasn't like a continuous thing. It was one level, but it was cutting ahead a little bit of points.
Yeah.
But
Combat looks
really good.
Fun.
Yeah.
You control. You give orders to the other Guardians while
you use their powers. It looks kind of a Mass Effect 2 and 3 style, where they do their own core combat, and then you just kind of activate powers here or there.
You have conversation branching, even if it's simple 2-option choices. It's still nice.
They're promising that those will have repercussions, not for the end game, but just as things progress through.
Which I like. It gives you a reason to replay, right?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it sounded like this mission was entirely avoidable. Like, because you're given the bit that they're showing, they're like, oh, well, we'll go and pretend someone's a monster and sell them to this collector. But there's a few options of what you can do instead. It seemingly in the conversation, maybe it steers you to the fact that you do have to do this mission. I don't know. But it's possible that there's, you could do this mission or this mission instead.
And I came out the other side of seeing all this trailer thinking like, I've not read in a while. Guardians of the Galaxy comics. So I decided to go and see what's happening with them.
I tried when Donny Cates jumped on for a little bit.
Donny Cates one doesn't jump into any crossovers by the looks of it.
It doesn't, but it was also just not that good from what I tried.
So I've heard his cosmic stuff is decent. So I've actually gone all the way back to Thanos Wins.
Okay.
And I was going to do Thanos Wins, Silver Surfer Black, and Guardians of the Galaxy.
I really like Silver Surfer Black. I think that's really good.
And Cosmic Ghost Rider.
That's pretty good as well.
And then I figured I'd probably move on and read the Al Ewing one as well, because as I started this, I thought, well, I may as well go all out, catch up on Venom, and then read Empire and King Venom or whatever it's called.
King in Black?
King in Black, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
Because, Marvel Unlimited, it's there, like... It's not like I'm having to go out and buy 100 odd issues to do this catch-up.
Yeah, you might as well while it's there. But game looks really good.
Yeah, it looks like... I think Avengers had a pretty decent story mode buried amongst the rest of it.
Yes, but I never wanted to touch... After I finished that story, I was like, I'm done. I never need to touch this again.
I didn't even finish the story because it got to the bit where it opened up and felt a bit more like one of those, and I was like, I'll come back to this in a bit. And I haven't.
Yeah, I know that they had a section of more characters coming and more content coming to Avengers.
Kate Bishop's in there, and that's my jam. But
yeah, and they're doing the Wakanda stuff and the Black Panther list,
which was announced at this conference.
Yeah, they showed that off here. It's hard to care about that.
Guardians looks very good. Looks like if you want a tight single player game, this is. And I will say that if you want tight single player games, buy the game to show you want tight single player games.
Good advice.
Because if at the end of this it turns out Avengers has better numbers than Guardians, we're getting more Avengers.
Which would be really sad given Avengers has pretty bad numbers.
Yeah.
So I do hope this does all right. I mean, I'll definitely be buying this.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks great.
And third-party companies don't seem to have upped the price yet to Sony's
Some have, some
haven't.
Yeah. Basically, Activision and Take-Two have. Others seem to be kind of holding at 60.
Next up was the Avengers stuff.
Which we kind of already discussed that we don't really care about. Looked fine, I guess, if you want Avengers, but I don't know why you would.
Final Fantasy Originals.
Oh, is this the pixel versions?
Yeah, we're basically getting the good versions of the original Final Fantasies back.
Yeah.
Instead of the kind of not so nice, very smooth iOS remasters that reported everywhere else.
Yes, but these are not coming to consoles, I don't believe.
No, Steam and
Steam and mobiles,
mobile.
I think.
So I imagine they're not new releases. I imagine they're basically
No.
just replacing.
I think it's a real shame as well that this isn't a collection of 1 to 6 that you can get. You have to get them all individually.
Yeah. And I imagine if you have them, this version is just going to replace the version you've got. Which,
I think you're giving them a lot too much credit there.
I don't think they're going to resell them. I could be wrong, but I generally don't think they'll resell them.
I would expect them to resell it, personally. I think they'll delist the older ones, so you can't buy those anymore. But I don't think
But then
they'll
again,
give you
here's
these
another
for free.
note of game preservation, right? Whether they were good, whether they were good remasters or bad remasters aside, that's
They
in
exist.
theory an entire version of a game that's just going to vanish.
It's game preservation is arguably impossible to a point because every time a patch comes in and updates a game, that whole version's gone.
I agree with you, but yeah, it's you know what? I think it could be worth doing an entire episode on game preservation at some point.
I'm down for that. We'll have that discussion another time.
But yeah, I think the pixel remasters are cool. I don't actually own any of the original 6 right now in a playable form, so
I think I have 6.
I might buy some of them. I played 4 on Vita, not Vita, PSP.
Yeah, I've never played any of these. I mean, honestly, I've played very little Final Fantasy. Shockingly
If you were going
little.
to play any of the original 6, 6 followed by 4 are probably the 2 to play.
Fair enough.
They're all good, but if you don't want to sink hours and hours into an old school RPG, 6 and 4 would be the 2 that have the strongest plots, I would say, from a pre-Final Fantasy 7 era. We got Babylon's Fall, which is a game as service from Platinum Games. I am not sure if it's part of a near world or not.
I don't think so, but can't be 100% sure. This looked okay. I was a lot less interested once I learned it was a games of service.
I'm struggling to actually remember anything about it. Like, casting my mind back. I can vaguely remember.
It didn't have any of the usual Platinum flair that I expect. Yeah. Pretty mediocre looking. Like, fine, I guess, but I suspect I'll never play it.
Life is Strange remasters, followed by more stuff about True Colours. The Life is Strange games are cracking little success story, really.
I've never played them.
I've played the first. It's fun.
First one kind of came about as a result of all the Telltale hype, right?
Yeah, it is that kind of game.
Yeah.
But like I remember being at the second one, so that not included in here at all, because they're remastering the first one and the prequel to the first one, and then True Colours is the third one. But I remember queuing up for the second one at EGX one year, and we were queued for ages, and I knew what Life is Strange was, but I sunk enough time into the first half of the queue where it was like, well, there's no point getting out now. And like, it was good, but it was exactly what I was expecting. It's like, I probably could have,
watched 5 minutes on YouTube and gone, yep, I know what this game is.
Yeah, and queued for something else instead.
Yeah.
Another round at Smash Bros. Because that was the year Smash Bros. Wasn't quite out yet and was at EGX. And
everyone wanted to play Smash Bros. Yep.
Smash Bros.
They probably still would now.
Yeah. Yeah, you could stick, I think, a few switches on the stand with Smash Bros. Playing anywhere and you will
get a crowd.
Yeah. But yeah, Life is Strange is decent, and this is exactly what one would expect from it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked that they had it all announced by the singing voice of a lead character of a new.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a nice touch.
It was a little bit different.
Oh, a remaster of Legend of Mana coming to PS4, Steam, and Switch.
Yeah, we get a couple of these every year
Yeah,
from Square. Just like here's some JRPGs here or there, and we'll throw a remaster, a remake, something.
a bunch of mobile games: Hitman Sniper, The Shadows, a Near mobile game,
Yeah,
more
it's hard
Final
to care
Fantasy
about mobile
mobile
games.
games.
Is it just the big one left?
Just a big one left. Strangers of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origin, Chaos. Are you ready to fight Chaos, Connor?
Oh, I am Chaos.
Apparently, a character from Final Fantasy One.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which might
That'll
be
be one
why
of his
they
origins.
felt the need to tag Final Fantasy Origin onto it.
Yeah. I'm
God,
hearing
the
this
main
described
character
as
is
like
the
a
dullest thing imaginable.
Souls-esque, right?
Pardon?
It's been described as Souls-esque in terms of its
Yeah,
combat
a
style.
Souls-esque Final Fantasy by Team Ninja. I mean,
Yeah,
Team Ninja are a good developer.
yes, it'll probably play fairly well.
Yeah, just
Strange. I know there was the demo problems
yeah.
that no one could seem to get on. I mean,
It just
hopefully
looks,
that's all fixed, and maybe I'll jump on and give it a try.
it just looks dull.
Do you know what? It does, especially after like we had 7 remake, and then we had 16 announced
Yeah,
earlier in the late
like
last year.
there's
I think.
nothing wrong with the visuals. They're impressive visuals.
I actually don't think that's true. I think the textures looked like they were like early PS4 days. Like they look really like low res textures.
It Team Ninja are Team Ninja did DMC.
They did the Neo games and Ninja Gaiden.
Oh yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of people who make Heavenly Sword now.
Yeah. They also make some of the Hyrule Warriors game. They made the first one, Fire Emblem Warriors.
They're fine.
I really like the Ninja Gaiden games.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed those.
It just looked like how paint by Final Fantasy numbers, right? Like,
Yeah, it was very.
but then without any of the exciting visuals of a Final Fantasy game.
I'm expecting this to be Neo with a Final Fantasy paint job, which there's a lot worse games I could play because Neo's pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I really like it. So
it's probably good. It's probably not gonna be a bad game. It just doesn't inspire me.
I get that.
Guardians is my takeaway from this.
I think it is for pretty much everyone.
Yeah.
Even Final Fantasy fans would probably agree with that.
Nothing from Final Fantasy 16,
Yes, bigger mission. I'm assuming.
but I imagine we're gonna see it in July at.
Sony's stuff. It has, yeah. If it's not here, they're saving it for Sony. That's the only
Which
conclusion.
makes sense. It's a PlayStation exclusive.
It is. It is. Square do this every year, where there's like the weirder missions because they have deals with various
Yeah.
people to show things at other conferences, and it always feels like just keep some stuff for yourself, Square. You could have a better show.
Yeah.
But they got deals in place.
Guardians in October. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm really glad it's this year as well.
Yeah.
That was a nice surprise.
And it looks like they've worked hard on it. And I know there's been. I made the joke as well about how they look like the Guardians of the Galaxy you'd win in an arcade.
Yeah.
But part of that, they don't though, is a thing. Part of that is just because you're used to a certain. And we mentioned it yesterday when talking about Avengers, how they skew.
Just
towards
close
wanting
enough to the
look
films that
like
you.
the films that you enter this weird uncanny.
Yeah. I'm
Gamora
sure
is
it'll be
actually
fine once you get used to it.
Gamora was very comics accurate.
Yeah, I actually like. I know people really hate the Avengers characters' looks because of this. I mean,
They grew on me the more I played it. To be fair,
it wasn't necessarily they grew on me. I didn't quite care that they weren't. They
The-
weren't the movie versions. I'm like, that's fine. I don't want the movie version. I don't need the movie versions.
I don't want the movie versions. I just don't also need them to try and skew
So
close,
close
but
to
not.
them, yeah.
Like I saw someone make the joke of man. They managed to make someone less likable than Chris Pratt.
I mean, poor guy.
Who?
Whoever's the facial model for this
Uh,
one.
I like the jacket. I like the jacket a lot.
I do as well. It pops.
Literally.
Yeah, and it's got the branding on the back, like the patch.
Yeah, for me. It's mostly it's Peter's face, it's Groot's face, and it's Drax's face. Gamora, I think, looks great. Rocket looks like a raccoon. Like,
Very much.
you can't really get Rocket wrong one way or the other. Like,
It's hard to mess up that one.
and
But
yeah,
I think that's everything square, isn't
it
it?
is. Yeah, which takes us to Microsoft X Bethesda.
Which is obviously the main event of the day. To some people, probably the main event of the week, given that E3's a bit weird right now.
Probably the main event of the week for me.
I think the only other real contender for some people would be Nintendo.
See,
But
I said at the start that Microsoft right now is a company full of potential for where they could go.
yeah,
The ball is very much theirs to drop. They've got all the momentum they need.
we know they've spent the last 3-4 years picking up developers.
Yeah, and good developers at that.
Yeah,
There's a lot of talent in Microsoft Game Studios right now.
there is, and half of them we don't even see at this show.
No. I think they pulled... First off, do you think they pulled it off?
I do. I think it was lacking a little bit of
Yeah.
momentum, flair as a show.
Like,
I think again, no one's quite nailed the digital dynamic.
Matt did mention to me an awful lot of top-down 2.5D stuff, and I was like, yeah, but that stuff pads out Game Pass.
And I actually really like a lot of that stuff.
So do I. And thing is, it's a great thing that they're small files usually as well. So it's not much
so you can have
investment
like
for you to be like, you know what, I'll
20
give it a
of
quick
them,
go.
and it'll be like, oh yeah, I'll stick it on.
Yeah. And Game Pass needs that stuff because AAA games don't come out every month.
No, they
A
don't.
AAA game every quarter, supported by all that kind of stuff, is a healthy service.
I agree, and it's no secret we're big fans of Game Pass.
Yes.
So
what you're about to enter is yet another instalment of James and Connor Shill for Subscription Services.
we're getting really good at this.
Yeah.
A lot of practice.
Like death to physical media.
Yeah, just give me stuff I can consume. I don't need to own it. I just want to use it.
Yeah. So
We're going to start off with the fact that they got a little bit shafted by the Washington Post.
Oh, did they?
Yes, like their big opening reveal was leaked by the Washington Post about 45 minutes before the conference started.
I did not notice that.
Yes, the full trailer and release date and everything.
Oof.
Yeah.
The Washington Post, Nintendo,
Yeah.
Still, they launched with Starfield.
It was a bold choice to open with and not close on.
I would agree until they close with what they closed on.
Yes.
But we'll get
like
to
going
that.
into this, I think the expectation was they ended with I think most people were expecting them ending either on this or Halo, maybe.
Yep. But like choosing to close on what they closed on was a great move.
Yeah.
And out of the opener and the closer, I'm way more excited for the closer.
Me too.
Only because I don't have much faith that a Bethesda game is going to be anything more than a Bethesda game, and I'm not their biggest fan.
I'm kind of hoping that the new engine maybe will solve some of the problems and make it feel a little bit more modern.
It is the same engine with stuff added
2,
onto
I
it.
believe. They're officially calling it 2 for the engine. So
come on, we both know they've just strapped some extra stuff onto the side of it.
It wouldn't be the first time that they've done that.
Their engine is the Shipper-Theseus of game engines.
It really is, yeah. But I mean, it was a pretty standard cinematic trailer that it's hard to get excited by.
Yeah, I was surprised at how industrial the sci-fi was.
They were talking about it again in stuff afterwards. They're calling it like NASA sci-fi, I think is the phrase they're using, or like NASA punk, I think is what they're calling it.
I think, well, I said to you when we were watching it, it's Ridley Scott sci-fi.
It is, yeah. They did say there will be alien races. It's going to be really customizable. They said it's actually leaning more into RPG backgrounds than they have in the past, where when you pick your character, you will pick an actual background of what that character has done, been.
Here's me saying like I'm not that excited for it. At the same time, it's on Game Pass.
That is not the big news that it's on Game Pass, because we knew it was going to be on Game Pass.
It is also
exclusive to, well, Xbox and PC, of course.
Yeah,
but
which doesn't surprise me.
It's not surprising, but they were playing coy for a couple of months, and people were, guessing back and forth. No one was 100% sure. But it's nice just to have it just in writing. Like, no. This is just the state of it going forward now. There's no more speculation of, will this Bethesda game be exclusive? Yes, it will. It will be exclusive, because that's why they paid a stupid amount of money for them.
Yeah. And that's fine. I mean, I guess it's easier for us to sit in that position because we have both consoles and PCs. I think
I understand exclusives are bad. As an objective statement, exclusives are bad for games. Like, they're bad for most gamers, because
they're bad for gamers. I'm not entirely convinced they're bad for games, because I think they do allow a level of money that wouldn't necessarily get.
They allow
spent.
A safety net usually.
Yeah, like.
But
I don't think we'd be up to the cinematic standards of Sony's games if they weren't Sony exclusives.
Probably not.
Like, I don't. And it's very, again, I'll admit, it's very easy to sit here being able to play all these and not have a problem with exclusives, because we're in a privileged position where we have both consoles.
I will say it's getting easier to feel better about being in that privileged position with Xbox, given in the not too distant future how easy it will be to play Game Pass games anywhere, even if you don't have an Xbox or a high-end PC.
Like, you really want to play Starfield?
You can play it on your damn TV. It won't be that long.
Let's say if you don't have a gaming PC but you've got a laptop, you can stream it to your laptop.
Yeah, like I said, it won't be long till you can stream it directly to your TV, like they're saying.
By the time Starfield comes out, xCloud is probably going to be running on Series X machines as opposed to...
I would hope so, yeah.
As opposed to One S's.
If it's not by the time it comes out, it won't be that long after, I don't think. I hope.
Hell, if you haven't done it by then, that's the game to announce it with.
It is.
Because
and we should mention it is coming 11/11/22, which is exactly 11 years after Skyrim, which was 11/11/11. And that's the only reason I remember that, is because it was 11/11/11.
That would be the game to really not potentially push just Game Pass, but to push xCloud as a concept with, because you do get that, like, okay, guys, I know we took Bethesda away from the rest of you, but it really is easy to just play this without an Xbox. Like, we're not. It's not that walled in of a gate. Like, if PlayStation is a tiny paddock, like, Microsoft's walled-in garden is significantly larger.
It is, yes. Technically, it's still exclusive to their ecosystem. Their ecosystem is just a damn sight bigger.
I mean, it's officially launching on iOS soon.
Oh, they sorted that out now?
It's been in beta for a while. It runs well.
Because I know they were having problems with Apple, weren't they?
They can't have an app, but it goes through the Safari instead.
Just through the browser, okay.
Yeah, it's a web app, basically.
No, that's fine.
Yeah. It's going to be on all PCs at the same time it launches on iOS. So yeah, everyone...
Hard not to see this as a good thing.
Yeah, I would bet most households would have some way to play an xCloud game.
Yeah, I would too. So go ahead, make it exclusive.
Yeah.
basically. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything on Starfield, right?
Yeah. But well, there's not a lot to talk about the actual game itself.
Nope.
It's a space game.
We will see gameplay next year, they said, which I should hope so.
Then next up is Stalker 2.
Yeah. Which looks pretty good. I've never played the first one. I don't know about you.
If you just talk for a moment.
I've watched the Stalker film. Very enjoyable.
I don't know if I have or not, actually.
It's a weird one. So I'm aware, enough that I know what Stalker is as a property, I guess, and I'm familiar enough with the weird shit that can happen. And then this just looks pretty solid, it's got some good looking FPS, slight horror sci-fi kind of bent to it. I'm into it, and again, Game Pass, April next year. We should say, I think there's 30 games at this show.
Yes.
27 of which are Game Pass.
Yep, and the few that aren't, we're very obviously never going to be on Game Pass. Like, it's just stuff at the show. Yeah, Stalker 2 looked... If you like Eastern European nuclear wastelands, which is a genre that is surprisingly larger than you'd expect.
Your Stalkers, your Fears, your Metros.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of them, weirdly.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, which I started off with, okay, it's a Sea of Thieves section.
As soon as we walked into the cell, I was like, hold on. They're not. They're not, right?
Yeah, I did the same. Which, again, Sea of Thieves, in general, don't care much about. I understand that this is kind of Microsoft's one live service game, really.
And it's a game that's really grown from everyone universally despising it to actually it has a pretty steady fan base.
Pretty healthy player base as well,
from
what I know.
And I tried to play a bit of it on my own, and it's not a game to play on your own. But even I had a bit of fun. So I imagine, with 3 or 4 mates, all sailing a ship around the sea.
That does sound fun. And the thing here was actually a surprise because we knew coming into this show that there was a something to do with Disney.
Yeah.
And the assumption had been that they were just furthering their relationship with Disney on Game Pass. Because if you're not familiar, there's like a promo where you can get a month free Disney Plus if you've got Game Pass. And people thought, well, maybe they're going to just extend it and roll Disney Plus into Game Pass. Maybe they're working something out like that. No. Just Pirates of the Caribbean, straight up. Let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I think it's great.
It's hard to argue with it being like a perfect crossover.
Free content for a game that people enjoy.
And again, all this free stuff is on Game Pass, and that's coming like next week, June 22nd. Is this Pirates of the Caribbean content? Obviously, the game's just there.
Yep.
What's not to like?
So next up is just a content dump for Game Pass.
Mostly Bethesda, with one exception, I think.
Yes, so Bethesda filled out the holes with a surprise as well. An early Arkane game. PC only, obviously, but a very early Arkane game's gone up on there as well.
Interesting.
That's apparently was a very fun, good fantasy, first-person fantasy style.
What game's this?
Game. The one that if you look at the list, you won't...
The one that I won't recognise at a glance. Arx Fatalis?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, I might have to check that out. Yeah, they added what? Arx Fatalis, Dishonored, Doom.
It's the Dishonored 1 expansion.
Oh, is it just the expansion? Okay, is the main game already on there?
The other two already on there, yeah. Doom, Evil Within 2, all 3 original PC Fallout, so Fallout, Fallout 2 and Fallout Tactics.
And then Fallout 3, which apparently was not on there.
Yep. Wolfenstein 2.
Yeah, and
the
Rage.
First Rage. And then outside of Bethesda, Yakuza Like a Dragon or Yakuza 7, depending on where you live.
Which is fantastic. I mean, I have been steadily working my way through the Yakuza games, thanks to Game Pass.
I've wanted to, and I think I might play this and then go back
You won't be the only person that does that. I'm
Two others.
certain, because this is kind of from what I know, a kind of a soft reboot.
Yeah, it's why
it's
they
easy
didn't
to
give
jump
it
in.
the 7 number in the West, because they thought of because it's the first one in a long time that's had a localization in regards to
Which I
voice
don't know
acting.
whether or not to play it with the.
Because you played all the rest with subs.
I'm playing all the rest with subs, and I'm used to the voices. I'm used to. I get the vibe, and I was like, but what do I do with this one?
Yeah.
Tough choice, but because this one's it's turn based, which is apparently the plan for the Yakuza franchise going forward.
Yeah.
Which again, this means all mainline Yakuza games are on Game Pass.
Yes. The only things that aren't are Judgment.
Now. Yeah.
And I'm kind of expecting it.
I would expect it at some point.
And I've said before, and I think it would be an interesting idea, that they should put release a Sega branded Xbox in Japan. They should partner.
Yeah.
They're obviously very pally with Sega.
It's a very recent move. This.
Yeah,
in the last
it
couple
seems
of
to
years.
be growing over the past couple of years that them and Sega are getting on quite well.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Yakuza franchise, up until 2 years ago, was 100% exclusive to PlayStation.
Yeah.
By the time you have this new game coming out, Xbox is getting it first, and now Game Pass probably about 6 months after it launched.
The idea of a Yakuza game on Xbox a few years
3 or
ago,
4 years ago, that was a fantasy idea.
Yeah.
And now they're getting, the exclusive benefits essentially. Which, as Xbox owners, we're okay with.
We got an announcement of a new game from Avalanche, which is the Just Cause studio. Some kind of co-op game called Contraband.
Yeah, I have very little interest in this
because I Game Pass.
Don't care for Just Cause. But
Just Cause is the kind of game that is a perfect Game Pass game, because you're never going to complete it, really, realistically, but they're immensely fun. So it's a perfect thing that if you just want a map to mess around on, you could dive in for a few hours and then delete it off your console.
You probably could. I'm expecting this to be Just Cause-esque still, but we'll see.
12 Minutes is coming in August.
Yeah, this is the interactive thriller.
The time traveling.
It's time loop.
Yeah,
presumably a 12-minute time loop.
I'll definitely be giving it a go, because
with
Game Pass,
James McAvoy and Daisy Ridley and Willem Dafoe are the three characters.
Someone point out they're fed up here. Like, I saw someone comment that they're fed up hearing about Game Pass, and I realise that we're saying it an awful lot in this. But how can you talk about Microsoft these days and not?
It is their next gen product.
Like, they got fed up of seeing the Game Pass logo after every game, and it's like, but that's
maybe don't watch any more Microsoft shows the next few years.
Yeah, like, that's a good thing. Like, they're telling you that their games are coming, and I also say, like, people should stop calling it free. It's like, yeah, because it's not free. You're right, it's not free.
No, it
is, however, very cheap.
Like $8 a month, something like
that. For us, if you're all in Ultimate, it's $11.99.
Yeah, which I am, admittedly.
But that's also includes Gold. It also includes PC Game Pass.
Yeah.
Like, these games all hitting game. Like, if you view it as Microsoft is showing Xbox users and owners what's out there, or giving you reasons to buy an Xbox, finding out all this stuff is on Game Pass is surely a good starting
and this
point.
is Game Pass on day one, as opposed to spending your $60. Well, I mean, I assume 12 minutes wasn't $60, admittedly, but like going back, Starfield would have been for sure, or will be theoretically still. Stalker, that'll be $60.
We also got some look at some Fallout 76 updates, which I don't care enough about to talk about. Do you want to?
No, Fallout 76.
Sorry, guys, if you're Fallout 76 fans, but it's going to eat into our runtime, and neither of us want to talk about it, so it's better than that than us be overly negative. We got footage of Battlefield 2042.
Yeah, I haven't got a huge amount of
I
time.
know Matt was very excited about the look of it. Not necessarily a game he wants to play, but for destructibility and things like that excited him.
That's always been Battlefield's big thing.
But
Personally, for me,
he's a big Red Faction fan, so destructibility gets him excited.
I do not like multiplayer games with that many players.
Yeah,
I like smaller. Like it's why I typically gravitate towards Call of Duty over Battlefield. Is that those smaller 6v6 up to 10v10 I can kind of deal with. These are like 32v32, and it's just too much for me. Maps are too big.
Gonna beat through a few things here now.
Yep.
On a relatively quick pace. Xbox enhanced Elder Scrolls Online. I started playing that a little bit recently. Actually, it's fun if you like online MMOs. It's fun. I was playing on PC, not console, but Jump Ship's Somerville.
I remember this looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Party Animals.
This looked surprisingly fantastic. Like I was in love with this trailer.
It did look like it could be a fun party that kind of game.
Yeah, me and Paige were watching it, and she was just like in love with this game.
We finally got a release date for Psychonauts 2, August 25th.
August 25th. Cool, I'll probably play it.
Yep, I might play the first one. I've never played the first one, so I might play that first.
I think that's on Game Pass as well, right? So
it is, yeah.
Go for it.
That was an interesting purchase on Microsoft in general, and a surprising purchase because Tim Schafer famously independent.
Yes, he is. That like to a fault.
Yeah. So Microsoft obviously allowed him money and no interference for him to accept that deal.
I assume because that's his brand. That's what sells.
Yeah.
Is like let him do his thing.
Yeah, and we'll finance you to do your thing. We just want your thing at the other end of it.
It's about as good as corporate deals can get.
And considering he's potentially worked a lot on like PC's probably his home base now, anyhow more than consoles, right?
Yeah, I would say that.
That they're still on PC. So
yeah.
Locking himself out of PlayStation probably isn't that big of a deal to him.
I'm sure he'll survive.
Next up, Halo Infinite with 120 frames per second free-to-play multiplayer. So the multiplayer is completely free-to-play. You don't need to buy Halo Infinite to play it.
It's a big deal. And they did say it is launching at the same time as the campaign because there was a lot of questions as to whether or not they would launch them separately.
Now, this does open an interesting point of how many people have an Xbox that doesn't have Game Pass that Halo technically also, like the campaign isn't also included, kind of. Like how many people have an Xbox and would have spent £60 on buying Halo?
Enough that this feels like a worthwhile marketing op.
Yeah.
So low that the financial hit of this is negligible.
Yeah. But we got some more kind of footage of story mode in the campaign as well. Every time that Halo music hits, man,
it's so good.
Yeah.
And do you know what? Speaking of music, I am annoyed at Microsoft for giving me a little bit of blue balls at the start of this show because they came out after Starfield and I can't remember who it was, but a little bit standing on a stage doing a bit of speaking, and they had some music from Mass Effect 3 in the background. I was like, why are you playing Mass Effect music? And it was no reason. Nothing. Disappointing. But Halo,
Halo.
That cutscene, again, it's hard to get too excited. It was a cutscene, but it looked good.
Yep. I like, and again, Matt pointed this out in his video that will be going up, that the idea of playing on an entire Halo is kind of exciting.
Yeah, I've always been excited by that prospect.
I like the grappling hook.
Yeah. Grappling hooks make every game better. It's just a fact.
And online looked very fun.
It looks like Halo Online, which I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, but it's probably the last shooter I ever played with any kind of regularity online, like Halo 3. Like, I'm not an online shooter person.
I played Halo 3 ODST and Reach online to a unhealthy amount.
I mean, ODST was the last Halo I played.
Yeah, ODST is underrated.
Yeah, ODST is good.
I think Reach is really good. I would recommend. I mean, they're all there. Just go play them. Do you know what the real problem with Game Pass is
Too much.
finding the time to play all
Yeah.
the cool shit on there.
So next up, talk about cool shit on Game Pass. Hades is coming to consoles in August, but it will be Game Pass at launch.
Yeah,
When I say consoles, I mean PlayStation, Xbox. It's obviously on the Switch.
it's on Switch, but the big home consoles, yeah.
Yeah.
Which great news because this was
A whole bunch more people will discover it.
this is my game of the last generation. Like that's how
It's
much I love this game.
fantastic, yeah.
It is a phenomenal game. Have I played it for a few hundred hours on my Switch? Yes. Will I play it on Game Pass to get some achievements? Yep. It's definitely going to happen.
Next up, I think, is a game you're rather excited for.
This was a surprise for me, and I am very excited.
Plague Tale Requiem.
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 Yes. Because at first I was like, "What is this?" And then I hear the French accent, and I went, "Could this be?" And then you see the rats.
Yeah.
And then you see the rats, and you're like, "It is." Plague Tale Innocence, I think was the sub. I don't know why they gave it a subtitle, but Plague Tale Innocence was the first one.
Yeah.
I think that was a 2018 game. My game of that year. Like it is so good. I played it on a whim. Basically, I got EA Premier Access, whatever their pro
it's one
tier
of those
of
games that makes you
access
regret
was.
that AA titles aren't more of a thing these days.
It is so. Cause I got EA Access, their pro tier, to play Jedi Fallen Order when that came out. By the time I finished it, I still had like 2 weeks left on my thing. I was like, because you pay for a month at a time. I was like, well, I might as well play something else. This is just chilling here.
Yeah.
And I fell in love. Like it is damn near perfect. It shocked me with what it was. It's essentially it's more of a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Than anything else, in that you're solving the puzzle of how to navigate by using the rats and avoiding the rats, to solve the puzzle of the path. But with a great story and acting at its heart to really drive it through. And, if there's one thing I would recommend people to play, again on Game Pass, if you've got that, if not, go and buy it. It's usually on sale pretty cheap these days. It is Plague Tale Innocence. It will surprise you.
Okay, gonna punch through a few things again now.
Yep.
Diablo 2 Resurrected is gonna be on Xbox. It's one of the 3 games that isn't on Game Pass.
Yes.
Diablo 2 is a good game. I assume a remastered version of it will also be a good game.
Probably.
A cool looking snowboarding game called Shredders from Phone Punch.
Yeah, I do miss having SSX.
Yeah.
Back in the day. So
You've
sure,
got
why
two
not?
games coming that could fill that niche. Riders Republic and this.
That's true. Yeah.
Something called Replaced from Sadcat Studios that I'm struggling to remember.
Replaced. Which one was that? Let's have a look. That was the kind of pixel art, kind of
yes.
Very like sci-fi horror, running through the woods.
Yeah, that was it.
Had a great tone. Looked gorgeous. I have no idea how it will play. Like if I'm interested in playing it.
Slime Rancher 2.
Another big surprise that I was like, this looks like a blast.
Yeah, and I know the first Slime Rancher has a fair few fans.
Yeah. I never played it, but this looks fun.
This next one, Atomic Heart, that looked really good.
Oh yeah, that one did look pretty solid, didn't it?
Like a retro sci-fi.
Yeah, there's another FPS, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looked good.
Then more content coming to Obsidian's Grounded.
Yeah. What I appreciate is something they didn't do last year, because I think they only announced, was it last year? No, well, be the year before, wasn't it? When they announced this last E3, they did not make it clear there was an arachnophobia mode. and I think that put a lot of people off.
Yeah,
I think they did a really smart thing this time by making it very clear in their content trailer at the big presentation that, hey guys, it's fine. You can stop the spiders being scary.
yeah.
They probably should have done that from the start. But I mean, it looks fun if you want more survival game.
The Ascent, which is coming next month. Which
This is
looks
the
like a
top-down
top-down cyberpunky RPG.
Yeah, we've known about this for a while.
Yeah, it's been listed as coming soon on the Game Pass app for at least a month now.
Yeah, we knew about this before the new consoles launched.
Yeah.
But coming July 29th, so not too far away now. It does. I've been excited for that one for a while.
Among Us is adding 15-player lobbies. I've still never managed to get a 10-player game going, but 15-player lobbies.
Cool, why not? And it's coming to Game Pass.
A hide and seek mode. I mean, it's on Game Pass for PC at the moment, but it's coming to Game Pass for console as well.
So I'll be everywhere then. Okay, cool.
Age of Empires 4, which if you're an Age of Empires fan, I'm sure is something to be excited about.
It looked pretty good. I mean, I can always enjoy these strategy games. So,
I loved the Outer Worlds 2 trailer.
Very clever, very in keeping with what to expect from Outer Worlds. Just being, hey, this trailer's full of nonsense. We're not going to show you anything because nothing's ready to show you. So we're not going to bother.
Yeah, we have a title.
Yes, it was essentially a we are in production announcement.
Yeah, but in a nice hey, this is the industry. We've got to say it's in production. We're just not ready yet.
Yeah,
and being upfront with that. More studios should be upfront with that stuff.
I agree. I'm sure it will be very good when it's ready because the first one was pretty good.
I was having the thought the other day, I think part of the problem of things right now is that we're privy to stuff that only investors would have been privy to in the past.
We hear about stuff so early.
Yeah, and it makes it feel like it's a lot. It's like when people would complain, oh, this Disney event didn't show us anything cool. It's because it just exists to tell shareholders that they're going to make some money off these cool films they've got lined up. It's not designed to show you anything.
For the most part, that's what all of these E3 style events are. They're to show to shareholders, we're good. This is what you can got coming over the next few years.
Yeah.
We just got lucky and they give us some cool trailers while we're at it.
Things like EGX and Gamescom in Germany, they're the stuff. The game is the stuff that's nearly ready. Go and play this game that's out in a few months.
Yes.
Play demos,
Yeah, this is more long term.
But yeah, Outer Worlds 2. Flight simulators coming to console with a Top Gun crossover.
Yeah, why not?
Watching this trailer, I was like, oh man, I would kill for an arcade mode of this. That I don't have to worry about flying, but I can just fly through the...
I'm surprised they don't have one already.
Yeah, because visually, it is gorgeous.
Utterly stunning.
If I could just fly without having to worry about pitch and throttle and just give me an up and down and an accelerate.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely stunning.
Then speaking of stunning, Forza Horizon 5, which just looks
Oh, God.
I was surprised by this. I was very surprised. For some reason, I didn't. Both you and Matt have said, "Oh yeah, we knew about this." I didn't, so it took me completely.
We didn't know where it was going to be set. That was kind of up in the air still. Mexico is the answer.
Yes, Mexico.
There was a point where they were talking about the graphics on the geometry of these rocks, and it was just the camera was down by the side of the road.
And it just looked like a photo of rocks.
It genuinely looked like a photo until the cars came past. I'm like, oh no, this is in game. I was like, is this just a picture?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Forza Horizon. I love Horizon way more than I love the regular.
Yeah.
The mainline
I've dabbled.
games.
I'm not good at racing games. I've dabbled in 4, and I've enjoyed just driving around a bit in it.
Horizon's a lot more arcadey.
Yeah, and I do like that
you can turn off all the damage.
A campaign mode that is just exploration.
Yeah, and they also just have a lot of wacky events in their campaigns in the Horizon series.
And the build your own wacky event looked fun.
Yeah, there's one in Horizon 4, you race a big steam train, you race a hovercraft. just things like that. They're like, no, this is fun, stupid shit.
Yeah, it looks good. It means
really does.
Fables are way off, but
That's not surprising.
a game that looks this good from Playground means Fable potentially hasn't even been started yet outside of.
Probably, but yeah.
But it's releases this November.
Yeah, a little bit shady on this one. I do not approve of their marketing. November 9th is what they're saying, which is when it comes to Game Pass, and they're like, this is your day one. But if you buy the $80 or $100 edition, you get it 3 or 4 days earlier than that. So that's the real release date, and everyone else is getting it later.
I think what you're getting is I think what's happening there is a broken version of meshing something new and transformative like Game Pass with an older system of doing things, because games quite frequently had pre-order and get 3-day early access,
which was always never early access. It was because Anthem was the big
the
one
game was
recently,
out.
where it was like, no, you're not paying for early access at this point. You're paying to get it on release day, and everyone else is getting it late if you don't pay the ransom.
But what I'm saying is, it's been a thing that has existed, and what you're seeing here though is a weird meshing of two systems that don't necessarily.
And it was one of those things, especially where it was day one on Game Pass, and it's like, well, it's not really, is it?
I think if Game Pass wasn't a thing, I don't think you'd have raised your eyebrows as. No, you might, but I don't think it would have felt as out of place, if you get me. Like, you might have raised your eyebrows and said, well, everyone does it.
Maybe. I always hate when it happens, though, so
but
it annoys me.
Meshing it with Game Pass means it feels more like you're getting it a bit later. But hey, if someone wants to buy it, I guess I'd wait for 3 days, personally.
I would love to see how many people spend $80.
I guess really hardcore Forza Horizon fans
to get it 3 days earlier than if they just wait.
Do you get anything else in that package?
Probably,
like cars and skins. Because that is the interesting thing with Game Pass, right? You only get standard editions of games,
with certain exceptions. Yes,
but
there are some exceptions where they will give you extra content.
Then you can buy DLC for your Game Pass games. And as Microsoft stuff never goes off Game Pass,
there's no worry that, well, I'm just going to be stuck with DLC. And
you logically would be better off buying the extra stuff to go with your free Game Pass copy than you would be to buy the whole game.
Just buy your season pass or whatever.
Yeah.
For $20 or $30, however much they're charging for that, on top of just having Game Pass. Yeah.
Next up was some very pretty pixel JRPG style thing called Ayuden Chronicle. 2 games, one coming out next year, one the year after.
Yep.
That 2023 took me back a bit.
Yeah, because like there are things in this show that are clearly 2023, and like Outer Worlds.
Yes.
And clearly that's 2023 at the earliest.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Frankly, probably longer.
I mean, logically, what comes first for Obsidian? Outer Worlds 2 or not Skyrim?
Avowed?
Yeah, Avowed. Avowed's got announced first, so
it did. I would say probably Avowed.
So would I, because Avowed is set in their Pillars of Eternity universe.
Yes.
And I kind of like that Obsidian now as a similar Bethesda situation to Fantasy World, Sci-Fi World.
Yeah, I'm assuming they've got multiple teams working on different games at this point, though.
And now both owned by Microsoft.
Yeah. It is strange.
An argument could be made. Microsoft bought up an entire genre there. The
vast majority of it, yes.
But yeah, Outworlds is definitely 23 at the very earliest.
At the earliest, if not later.
And then we closed on a new game from Arkane, which again, Xbox exclusive.
Yeah. I don't think this is the main Arkane studio.
Exclusive.
I think this is their second studio now.
You're correct. Redfall a co-op vampire shooter that can be played completely solo. They made a point of pointing that.
They did, and it's open world as well, I believe.
Yes.
But
this cinematic trailer was just phenomenal.
Again, there's no gameplay, so pinch of salt. But for
They're
tone,
saying summer next year, aren't they?
Yes.
Which I can believe.
Yeah, I'm assuming Arkane have been working on this for a while.
I was all in. Like the entire.
You love Arkane anyway, though.
I
right?
love Arkane anyway, and the entire thing was just. I love vampires. I love magic.
Yeah.
Seeing her magically reload for shotgun shells.
Yeah, that was cool.
And people seem to have fallen head over heels for that character online.
Yeah.
My Twitter feed's just been absolutely full of it all day.
No, it makes sense.
But yeah, I think a strong showing for Microsoft.
I do, and there's actually one thing that your list has slightly overlooked.
Yeah.
Back for Blood.
Oh yes, Back for Blood.
Which obviously we knew about. You know, it's definitely not Left 4 Dead. Is now coming to Game Pass on launch.
Yes,
Xbox and PC Game Pass,
which is a big get because that's a game me and a few of my PC friends were thinking of getting and playing. I'm the only one of us who's got Game Pass, but as long as I can play my PC version with them on Steam,
I would see no reason why not.
Humans Fall Flat, you can't.
That's strange.
Yeah, because I had to go out and buy it to play with them because I had it on Game Pass all installed, ready to go. And it's like, no, you can only play with other Xbox, other like Microsoft users. But
yeah.
Back 4 Blood is meant to potentially have crossplay anyway, so I don't see it being a problem.
Yeah, I would be shocked if you can't.
So I'm very happy that if we are going to be playing that come October, I don't have to buy it.
Yeah, and this is just another one that
I might use it to finally try and convince them to give Game Pass a try, even if they just give a PC version a try, which is significantly cheaper.
It is, yes.
What is it, £3-4?
Something like that. It's not much.
Yeah.
I think it went up now because it was in beta for a while.
Yeah. But yeah, because I'm like, well, I might be like, well, how long are we realistically going to be playing Back 4 Blood for? Are we going to put a month in it and then probably never play it again? Don't spend £40 on Steam. Come subscribe to Game Pass.
Just spend a tenner on a month and just...
Yeah. I'd be half tempted, depending on how I'm feeling that month, to just be like, look, here's a gift card. Go in.
Yeah. That's it. It's like, just look, you just go and play. Just don't waste your money. But, I mean... I don't know.
Sable was a game on my Steam wish list that I was very looking forward to, and that's coming to Game Pass on launch.
Which one?
Sable. Desert hover bike.
Okay.
Yeah, very still shaded art. Like Dark Alliance is a game that's coming next in a week.
It's the D&D one, right?
Yeah, a game I was never gonna buy because it doesn't look good, but I kind of want to play because I love D&D.
Yeah, there are so many games that I know I would never buy, but if they're on Game Pass, I might give a shot. And it's not even like a hypothetical. Oh well, this is coming out, and I might. It has happened to me already.
No showing of Scorn, but it's still listed in the
fall. Yeah,
that's the Geiger style game.
Yes, yeah. I don't know about that one. I don't know.
But yeah, this holiday season, then we're shaping up to have Gears of War, Far Cry 6, Forza Horizon 5, Halo Infinite, and maybe, but probably not, Horizon. We still need to get something out this holiday season. So
what Gears of War is it, sorry?
Did I say Gears of War?
You did.
I might say Far Cry 6.
Never mind.
Halo Infinite, Forza Horizon, Far Cry 6, Guardians of the Galaxy. Hey, Back 4 Blood if you're into that kind of thing. That's a big holiday era release.
October, I mean Age of Empires.
We're not getting any of Warner's Batman games this year now, are we?
They've already confirmed they're not.
Yeah, so Gotham Knights has slipped.
That's slipped to next year. They confirmed that, yeah. I would expect an update on that and the Suicide Squad one at the DC Fandom, whenever
Yeah,
that is now.
makes sense. Um,
And then on top of all these games and all this showing they just had, they're doing another like sit down in depth
yeah,
look of some games that are already previously announced that aren't really here
that's on
next
Thursday.
week. Thursday, this week, Thursday.
Yeah,
Okay.
we won't be
What?
we won't be doing anything about it, but go and watch
No,
it.
but I would expect to see like maybe some Hellblade 2 stuff in there
Yeah.
and things like that, where things we know are in progress, developer videos, interviews, the usual. But maybe there'll be something interesting in
See,
there.
and that's the thing. In all the talk that Microsoft doesn't have games, because that's still the narrative. Somehow, like that's
They
still
are putting out games orders of
this
magnitude more than Sony right now.
this winter. We have 2 first-party major releases from them.
Yeah.
We don't know what's coming from Sony this winter.
Yeah.
Again,
We-
logically, Horizon
we-
is the winter
We
title.
will give them the benefit of the doubt with Horizon, in the same way that we're giving Microsoft the benefit of the doubt with Halo, that notably did not have a date, just said holiday.
Yes, and it was meant to be last holiday.
Yes.
So,
So
I'm thinking they know they can't miss this holiday.
I'm thinking that, but also the fact that they didn't commit to a date means that they're not 100% confident in it hitting this holiday.
No.
So I would say that might slip in the same way that Horizon might slip.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard to say for sure. But a lot of games coming, and once you count in the non-first parties, but the exclusives, and then things that will be included in Game Pass that yes you could go and buy on PlayStation, but it will cost you $60, maybe
Yeah.
$70, depending on the game, as opposed to part of your ongoing
Like,
$10
if
subscription.
you really
or whatever
want
it
to
is.
get into Back for Blood right now, Xbox is the console to have.
Yeah,
And stuff stays on there for a long time.
it's usually at least a year.
Yeah.
Very few exceptions have been made to that. There have been a couple where it's been less.
If you got really into Back for Blood and your mates played it every week, when it was eventually about to leave, take your Game Pass discount and buy it.
Yeah, if it's not been on a good sale before that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This has turned into a shilling for Game Pass for a while, but Microsoft makes it so easy.
Yeah. But there's a lot. Again, Microsoft is just full of potential right now in regards to what their studios are capable of putting out.
Yeah, the fact that we saw all this without any Perfect Dark, we had no Hellblade,
Yeah.
we had no Fable, we had no Avowed, all these things, the big things that we know are coming. Scorn, you just mentioned Scorn. Big things that we know are coming that they just didn't even mention.
And the level of variety that.
I will say there's a reasonable amount of FPS.
But even the FPS is a different, like. First person as a perspective isn't inherently like. Battlefront is a first person shooter.
Yeah.
Back for Blood is a first person shooter, but they're very different styles of first person shooter.
It's true.
And even then, you've got things like. Would you call Dishonored a first person shooter? Is Starfield.
Given how little they're shooting, I would say no. Starfield, they already confirmed, will be first or third person in the vein of every other Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, but they're meant to be played first.
Yeah.
They don't play well in third person.
They do not. No, wouldn't recommend it. But Stalker definitely is, obviously. Contraband
Stalker again.
might be.
Stalker is a first person shooter. But again, let's then compare it with Halo.
They're not very similar games beyond the core mechanic being you are in first person mode and you shoot guns.
Yeah. Like, I think it's weird that I've had it for a while that Call of Duty Modern Warfare broke how people perceive first person shooters. Yeah. And it took to the end of that generation to start getting variety back in them. Because there's tons of different styles of Thief as a franchise, right?
I love Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. We should specify here, I suppose.
BioShock is a first person
Yeah.
shooter.
But how different are those games to Doom? Or, like you look at Doom Eternal last year.
Yeah.
So different to any Call of Duty, for example.
I mean, maybe they're subgenres,
Yeah.
but it's like we were talking the other night, and we were saying like, how would you describe all Sony games third-person action
Third-person
games?
action RPGs.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
I mean, Ratchet and Clank isn't. That's a platformer with guns.
It's an action RPG that has platforming elements.
Its DNA is still heavily platform based.
I'll probably give it, yeah. I'm just being facetious for the sake of arguing.
But that's the thing. I'm playing Ratchet and Clank, and it's a level of variety you don't usually get in.
Yeah, it's probably a very good game.
And you hear me on this channel, maybe making this joke about Sony a few times. I like Sony, and I bought a PS5 before I bought an Xbox.
I mean, yeah, I say this is I'm on record with God of War being like my third favorite game of the last generation.
Yeah, like I think I maybe count a little bit much because I'm a little tired of the narrative that Microsoft hasn't got anything going for it. Like,
I'm seeing people who watch this Microsoft show and went, that wasn't very good.
I don't know
what do you want?
Yeah.
And this isn't just like critics and stuff. This is people that I know who are usually positive about things to an obscene amount, which maybe lets James know who I'm talking about here.
Oh.
Yeah. It was like, it wasn't that good a show. I'm like, what is wrong with you? What do you want? There are some, like, literally just here's an hour and a half of games that are all just going to be there for you.
Yeah, like it was a great show.
The idea of someone watching this and not finding 2 or 3 games that they liked, I think is because even if you hate all of the most of what we're talking about with the AAA style games, you probably then liked Slime Rancher or Party Animals.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like there's or then you've got Age of Empires if you want your hardcore strategy games. You got Flight Simulator.
I think it is that notion that the only thing that matters is AAA.
Which
that people want AAA at these events. They don't want games. They want AAA experiences. And AAA experiences are games, don't get me wrong, I'm not.
But that's all they want. They don't want the wider variety of games.
Yeah.
That's probably true, which is a shame. Especially when there are a lot of good games.
That they would watch something like me and you watched that Atomic Heart trailer and we came out thinking, damn, that looks really interesting and cool. But to another person, they could watch it, it's like, that doesn't look anything like. That doesn't look extremely realistic and cinematic and.
Yeah. That's a fair point. It's all about expectations, what you want out of them. Yeah. And I think as much as we're saying, there's not a lot of AAA games. There is in this. There's a reasonable amount of AAA game, like Starfield, obviously Stalker. I'd say is AAA.
Yeah, Halo, Horizon.
Halo, if I say Horizon.
Again, Forza Horizon. If anyone thinks we're talking about other Horizon, just to clarify.
Yeah, you got Outer Worlds, Redfall. Those will both be AAA.
Yeah.
Plague Tale, maybe. AA.
I would describe that as AA, and I think the industry needs more AA games.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I'm not really arguing on it. It's like there are AAA games in here, and we know Microsoft have more studios making AAA games coming.
Yeah. Hell, they have a studio they built solely to make Sony style games, and they're working on a Perfect Dark that I imagine is potentially going to be very good.
I really hope so.
It's a franchise I'd like to see back.
As much as I'm excited about these games, I get excited for Sony games too. I'm not here to shit on Sony.
It's more the fact that I know exactly what to expect, and I know what to expect is very good, right?
But it's not like
it doesn't excite me though because I know what it's going to be, and I know it's going to be a satisfying, good game.
It might be a 9 out of 10, but there's no surprise as to what am I going to get from Sony. I'm going to get a Sony game, and I'm going to have to pay 70 goddamn quid
Which
for
again,
it.
I'm fine with inherently. Like,
It's a lot harder to make that argument when I can pay 12 quid a month for Game Pass.
yeah. But well, I've worked. I think I sent you a message. I worked out for maths on a quarterly Sony via quarterly Game Pass on how much you'd spend over a year, and it was like double the amount.
I'm gonna see if I can get that figure because it was astonishing. I'm just gonna see if I can find it because it wasn't that long ago. You sent me this. I don't think.
No, it'd been Sunday, I think.
Like it was a lot more than you would think. We talk about how Game Pass is really good value, and it is. And
Yeah,
honestly, I think Sony saying quarterly is
for £70 Sony games will be £280. A year of Game Pass is £143.88.
And that's you got a lot more variety.
And you're not just getting those 4 AAA games every quarter, right?
You're getting access to a couple of hundred of games and play as many as you damn want. And
to be fair, if you're someone who does just want that big Sony game every quarter, right? Then yeah, Game Pass probably isn't for you, which is fine. Like if mostly what you want, but yeah, I never expect Sony these days to churn out anything that's bad, is the thing. I fully expect bad stuff to be coming from Microsoft over the next couple of years.
Yes.
Or at least
some of these games will not be good.
Or at least wonkier stuff. I certainly don't expect the level of polish coming from Microsoft games that I expect. And a lot of the studios they bought are studios that don't polish to the same level that Sony studios do.
No.
But they bought interesting studios. They bought studios that make interesting things. Like Arkane's games aren't necessarily highly polished, but they make brilliantly fascinating games.
I mean, I think Bethesda Softworks is the definition of not very polished.
Well, yeah. Obsidian make great, interesting games, but they're not turning out super polished.
I mean, Outer Worlds was a very good game.
It was.
But it wasn't like the most, graphically amazing, bug-free experience in the world.
No. And Microsoft has bought a lot of those kind of studios. And I think, because I think they potentially can work a bit quicker. Or I don't think Microsoft are even necessarily aiming for that same level of... I think Microsoft
let's blow everyone out of the water with how this looks.
Yeah, I think Microsoft would be happy with one of them a year, as long as we've got a breadth. They're playing for different reasons.
It feels like Sony are very targeted on a specific audience.
Yeah,
and that's great while that audience is there.
Yes.
Microsoft feel like they're in a much more long-term, stable place going forward, assuming that Game Pass is profitable enough for them, which I have no reason to doubt.
Like, Microsoft is there selling you... Microsoft's like, hey, you want a game? What? What are you in the mood for? Like, while Sony is very much telling you,
this is what you want and you will enjoy it.
Yeah, and you probably will.
Probably.
Like, Sony is there, so you're like, hey, this is the thing we're going to be talking about for the next month and a half, and it's very good. And you're like, you're right, it is very good, and we are going to be talking about it for the next month and a half.
And like, to be fair to them, Ghost of Tsushima is, I believe, the only game in the entire generation that I got every trophy / achievement. I got the platinum. That is the only game.
Yeah.
I love that game.
Yeah.
But there's a lot more variety going on at Microsoft right now.
It sounds like we're being negative on Sony. I don't think we are. I think it is that level of, like, it's hard to work up a conversation and get, like, about
I think, do you know, like I said, I love those games, but it's hard to get excited because I know what to expect. Whereas
Yeah,
Microsoft, there's this factor of it has been a few years without many games, so there's this kind of like it's coming home sort of feeling, like
yeah.
oh
And I can
let's get it going
talk
again.
about what makes Dishonored sing:
Level design,
level design, stealth mechanics. It has got an interesting story, to be fair, as well. But
that's not what it's there to tell. Like I mean, it's not what's special about that game, is it?
no, Dishonored is the kind of game that I will load and load and load because even though I know I can survive a gunfight,
You want that perfect run.
I want to nail the stealth.
Yeah.
Um, and
Whereas in contrast, Last of Us Part Two,
I've
if
not
I
played
get spied, well, because it encourages you to be stealthy. It does. When I get spied, I'm like, screw it, guns are coming out. There was never any. There was never any like sense of loss or that I did something wrong when I
Yeah.
got spotted. It was just, I guess it was inevitable. I'll just start the gunfight.
The game industry is maturing,
Yeah.
and I'm not. I'm not entirely sure everyone is making the same form of media anymore. Like Naughty Dog, for example, very much feels like it's game in service of story. And there's
Yes.
nothing wrong with that approach at all.
They are storytellers before they are game designers.
Yeah, and there's absolutely zero wrong with that approach. And there's a market for that. There's a place.
Pretty
For
big
that.
market for that, judging by the sales.
Well, yeah. And there's certainly a spot for it. But that isn't everything video games should be. Right? Like, Mario Odyssey is one of my favourite games of the current / last gen. Depending on where you're
I'm kind of counting it as part of the last gen, and
Yeah.
in that sense, it is my second game of the generation.
And that's pure game.
Yeah.
Through and through. And
there is basically no story to that.
no, and it gets to this point where I've thought about it several times. Is Mario Odyssey and is Uncharted 4 or Last of Us or Last of Us 2 even the same art form anymore?
I get where you're coming from.
They
Last
are,
of Us 2,
and
like
they're
the other
adjacent-
ones,
and they're certainly
they
adjacent.
feel closer to interactive movies.
Yeah.
Whereas Mario Odyssey is a game at all times. It is never not a game. There is no point where you put down the controller and go, I'm going to watch a cutscene for 5 minutes now.
Yeah, it's just game.
I think the longest
And
you
that's
stop is
looking at
maybe a minute.
very extreme ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's why indie games have made such a surge, because again, they're game and there's people out there who are wanting Hades.
Love it so much.
And it's, again, it has a plot.
It has a really unique way of tying the
Yeah.
roguelike elements into the plot.
It does. But it's game first and foremost.
Yeah,
It's about a satisfying loop.
it is. It's about a very addictive loop, let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's
And
dangerous.
I wonder, as we get more and more different styles of game, more and more different... You've seen board gaming creep into the game, like deck builders have become a very popular subgenre of video games in recent years, and that's just straight up just a tabletop game with graphics added on top.
Pretty much.
Like I'm a big fan of Slave Spire. That's a board game. It is.
I love Slay the Spire.
Pardon? Yeah.
I love it. I do.
Here's an interesting thought, because I know, would you play Slave Aspire if it was at your table?
Possibly. I will say there is something to just the fact that I don't have to set it
The
up.
game
I don't
mechanics
have to.
deal with all the... Yeah.
Yeah, it's just there.
So, because I've just recently dug out my copy of Marvel Champions, because again, Guardians of the Galaxy just put me in the mood for some Marvel stuff, which is a deck building card game where you fight Marvel villains as Marvel heroes. You build yourself a deck and you use that deck to fight the villain, and the villain is AI controlled by the fact that you're playing against a shuffled up deck.
Yeah. That's it. There's nothing about Slay the Spire that could not work incredibly easily as a board game. Hell, bloody Stardew Valley is a goddamn board game now.
Yeah, lots of
Like,
video games have had board game adaptations in
yeah,
recent
but
years. Not many of them are
Stardew
good.
Valley is the big one right now, I think.
Yeah,
but
Bloodborne just got one.
yeah, but I don't like Stardew is like a direct adaptation, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like this is just Stardew Valley, except I'm playing it on a board.
like it. Yeah, again, this is getting off. Well, it's not getting off beaten track, but it's maybe again thoughts for a different episode of something down the line. But it. Yeah, I'm not sure video games. The term video game serves as an all-encompassing medium.
It means different things to different people at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like we know people who, like I say, we know people who would have watched that and seen nothing that appealed to them there. But come Sony's conferencing,
they will be extremely excited.
Yeah. And there's again, nothing, absolutely zero wrong. Enjoy what you enjoy.
Absolutely.
Like, these things should. I'm not saying these things should all exist.
Yeah, I'm glad for what happened at Microsoft's conference. I'm glad for the variety of games because not everything on this list is for me. No. I mean, there were multiple games that we brushed past. We're like, we haven't anything to say about that.
Yeah.
But someone will enjoy them. I'm not saying they're bad games. They're not for me.
But I'm very glad that Microsoft's strategy is not Sony's strategy.
Yeah.
Because if it was, I wouldn't have an Xbox because I have no need for. Because I am more. If we're talking pure IP, I have way more attachment to Sony IPs than I have to Microsoft IPs, apart from maybe Halo for nostalgia purposes.
Probably the same for me as well, to be honest.
Right. So if Microsoft was just pursuing that same big AAA £60 games, but probably not quite as good as Sony are doing, then I would have no need or desire to own an Xbox. Last generation, up until the tail end of it, when Game Pass came into play, I had no need to own a.
I didn't.
Yeah. I mean, I bought my Series S just because it was a cheap 4K Blu-ray player, and then Game Pass was on it, and it was like, well, this is wonderful.
That is basically why I bought mine.
Yeah.
Not my Series S, my 1S.
So yeah, my 1S, not my Series S.
Series S does not have a disc drive.
No, I'm getting namings mixed up.
You're getting bamboozled by their terrible naming convention that they maybe took some lessons from Nintendo in. But I literally moved my PS4 from one room to another. I was like, well, I need a Blu-ray player. I was like, well, I could just buy a Blu-ray player, but I want a 4K player. I was like, well, at that point, I might as well just buy a pre-owned 1S.
The 1S was regularly like $199.
Yeah, I'd buy pre-owned, so I got less.
Yeah.
And now I have a Series X in that room. I have a PS5 in here. I got rid of the PS4 entirely because I don't need it. And I put the 1S is in the other room. It's just it's a media device.
Yeah, and they swiftly won me over with Game Pass. It was around the similar time that I finally invested in a PC as well.
Do you know how many games I bought on Xbox?
I bought Resident Evil 2.
I bought Mass Effect Legendary Edition.
I bought that on PC.
Which arguably was a bad choice to buy on the Xbox. Theoretically, I should have... If I was doing it purely logically, I'd have bought it on the PS5 because it will be on EA's access at some point in a year or whatever, and I'll play it as part of Game Pass.
I bought it with the discount I get from having EA All Access included.
I did as well. It was like 10%, but in theory, in a year's time, that'll just be part of Game Pass.
Yeah.
And that was arguably a bad purchase.
But you wanted it.
I wanted it in that room specifically.
Like people who want Forza Horizon 3 days early.
Yeah. Exactly. But there's a difference between 3 days and a year.
Yes, there is. Although you could have, if you were going to blitz through it in a short space of time, you could have bumped up your EA to an EA Pro and just...
They only do that on the PC.
Ah.
This is the thing. I wanted to play it on... The reason it's on the Xbox is because the Xbox is in the front room, and I wanted to play it because Paige has never seen it. She's never played those Mass Effect games. I want her to watch the story and experience that. So it had to be that console. That was the only reason. Otherwise, I would have, like I say, either I would have bumped up and just got the EA Pro, whatever they call it,
Yeah.
or I'd have got on the PS5.
Yeah, and that's how they won us over, right? With us buying one for other purposes and Game Pass just being that good of a deal.
Yep. And now when there's 20, like this show, 27 out of 30 games are here. You go, Game Pass. I'm gonna play a good handful of them that I had no interest in otherwise. Like I say, this is not hypothetical. The Medium, which came out earlier this year,
is a game
I would never.
bought.
I would never have spent money on that. Even after I've played it, I played through the whole thing, thought it was pretty good. I would never have spent more than a $5 on it, and not because I think it's bad, because it's not my type of game, but because it was there on Game Pass. I thought, no, I am going to play this. I am going to try it and try something different.
You know what? Maybe it's weird. Like we've been talking about how whether you're pro or anti Game Pass seems to be, and whether you really want multiple styles of games or not. But maybe having Game Pass encourages that level of kind of trying things you wouldn't normally try, and trying, like, maybe just having the access that Game Pass offers encourages a wider reading of the medium.
Things I've been playing on Game Pass recently. We'll talk about this here. The Medium,
Yeah.
which is that like horror, Silent Hill-esque, right? Yakuza games.
Yeah.
I've been playing Monster Train, which is a Slay the Spire style, and things like that. And Forza Horizon.
So I have been. Let me just load up my Game Pass.
And it's just like those are all very different types of games. Not all of which are full price $60 games, admittedly.
The original Doom is one of my recent plays.
Classic.
And surprisingly, for a game made in 1993, that thing holds up well.
Oh yeah,
like it is still fun.
It is very playable.
BattleTech.
Yeah.
I've been using the Game Pass version of Among Us because I've got it for free on my phone, and I know it's only like £3, but it's on Game Pass.
So why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, why spend the £3 on Steam?
Yeah.
And I downloaded but not played it yet, that Backbone.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Just launched on there. It's a kind of pixel art, noir, side-scrolling detective adventure game.
Oh, I see it. That looks interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty much just, if you want it, it's that shot of a cinema with a light in and
with like a fox and like a raccoon, maybe.
Yeah.
I've just added that to my play later list because why not?
Yeah.
There's just so much, like you can go from that to one of my favorite games of the last few years, SnowRunner.
Yeah.
Just, a truck simulator.
I installed it on knowing that Connor really likes this. 10 minutes in, I was like, yeah, no, but I tried.
Not for everyone. That's fair.
Just for controlling mechanics, I was like, I'm going to want to launch this controller through a window, so I'll just stop now.
But also, it was on Game Pass, so no big deal, right? No loss.
I never have bought it, but you were praised it so much, I thought, well, let's see if it is for me. I discovered it wasn't. I uninstalled it. No harm, no foul to anyone, right?
Yeah, unless you're in a terrible backwards place that has a data cap.
Yeah.
All you're wasting is a couple of hours of installing.
And to be fair, these days, if you keep your Xbox in rest mode, you just open the app on your phone, hit install, and then just wait.
It'll be ready when you get home.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
It's not hard to install a game either.
No. Like we're recording this on Discord now. I've just glanced over at the sidebar. I can see one of my friends from work is playing Yakuza Kiwami 2. I'm 90% sure he's playing that on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Literally just... And we were talking about Yakuza a few weeks ago, so it wouldn't surprise me if we were talking about it. I was going, yeah, Yakuza 0 was fantastic. That he's gone and jumped into that because of that conversation, because he has Game Pass.
As soon
and
as
the
show finished last night, I went and hit... On my phone, I hit install on Yakuza Like a Dragon. I've not turned my Xbox on since then because I've been playing Ratchet & Clank on the PS5 at the moment. A great game. Seriously, very good. If play it.
I love the last one, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it's just. I love it for the same reason I love Mario. And again, it's me saying like it's a Sony game that feels very much like a game, as opposed to like the game is servicing the story. And but when I turn that Xbox on, Yakuza Like a Dragon is going to be there, going like, "Hey, time to play me now."
A good feeling.
Yeah, like it. And again, we said at the start, we're in the lucky position of having both. I have a PS5 and a Series S. You have a Series X and a.
I got very lucky.
Yeah.
I managed to, within 3 or 4 months of them being launched, I managed to get both of those and a 30 series graphics card.
Wow, yeah, you did get lucky.
Yeah, I know.
I got a one. I sold my 1S, and with the money, I was just like, well, I've got the Series S's in stock at work. I'll go and buy one. It wasn't even planned. I was just like, I'm going to get one eventually, so I'll just get rid of the. And mostly, I had Game Pass on the PC, so it was one of those things. Where it's like, the PS5's got a 4K Blu-ray player. The 1S wasn't really doing anything anymore.
Yeah.
So my original plan was just to get rid of it, and eventually I would have got a new Xbox to replace it. But the Series S's came in stock, and it's like they're really.
Do
not
you have
expensive.
any plans to at some point perhaps replace that with the Series X, or do you see no immediate need?
Down the line?
Yeah.
But it might wait until the Pro equivalent, like the next mid-gen upgrade.
Yeah.
Like
if there is one.
If there is one.
Because Microsoft were talking about there might not be in one this time.
Effectively, when the Series S gets left behind, is probably
That's the
when
point
I
where
will
you'll just
upgrade it.
Yeah.
Like it'll be, and even then, as we were saying yesterday, I'm pretty sure Microsoft will turn on cloud streaming on consoles at that point.
I'll be shocked if they don't.
Yeah, so that
So you might not even really need it at that point. You can be on a Series S, but streaming a Series X version.
Yeah.
In theory.
Yeah. So all depends, but I could see myself upgrading it down the line because I won't feel like I've burnt. Like I never got a PS4 Pro because I was like, I spent all this money on a PS4 at the start of the gen. I kind of begrudge the fact that I need a better version of it already.
I did the same, and I feel like that was a mistake. And I never got the PS4 Pro, and I feel like I probably should have just.
My
got
PS4 was struggling at the end.
Yeah, mine was shutting itself off multiple times on some games because it just couldn't cope with them.
I bought a PS5. If in 2.5 years a PS5 Pro comes out, I will begrudge it. Because I spent however much I spent on the PS5, I would begrudge upgrading a Series S significantly less.
Because it was a lot cheaper to begin with.
Yeah. If this is going to sound terrible, it almost feels like a more disposable purchase.
In the world of tech purchases, though, it's pretty cheap.
Yeah.
When people routinely spend £1,000 on an iPhone.
Very few people buy it outright, though. That's for.
Well, in the US they do, don't they?
Yeah, US phones is weird.
Right, but in a world where they will spend $1,000 routinely on an iPhone, what 200, 250 on a Series S is a very small purchase in comparison.
Yeah.
So.
And you see the deal Game had on recently: trade in an old console and get a Series S for £99.
Yeah.
Which if you've got one S lying around.
Yeah, it's of course assuming Game had any stock, but
I think they did because Series S is pretty well supplied.
Fair enough.
It's the X that isn't.
Makes sense.
Because less people are buying the S. I don't think it is selling that
I think it will sell really well over like the Christmas periods of when like parents just want to they want a console for the kid, but they don't want to spend too much. I think that's when they'll sell.
Yeah.
Not this year, obviously, because there was no stock of anything this year. But Christmas coming up, I can see it.
And I think it is the perfect second console.
Yeah.
Because
we nearly bought one.
Much as I'm
already.
happy... Pardon?
We nearly bought one here in my household.
To go with the X and the 5.
Well, basically, Paige wants to play Monster Hunter. But she wants to play it like co-op, like together.
Yeah.
And the cross-play is terrible. So we can't I can't play it on the PS5 and she can't play on the PS5 because of Sony. And that's not me being shitty. That is outright because of Sony. We know that for a fact, thanks to
Sony needs to get on board with crossplay. They still do.
Yeah. So because of that, we were like, well, you could just buy an S and we could play it like that. Because just get because on Game Pass, it's like, well, I mean, we just buy an S.
You not
and
boot
we
up
don't
on
need
your
anything
PC?
else. Can't do crossplay on PC either.
Damn.
So this is something we learned in the Epic v Apple trial. Sony paid to not have crossplay between any versions when it came to Monster Hunter, and they paid for obviously the delay of Iceborne, was it?
Yeah.
Which that's not that weird, but
Paying
it's not just
to
they
block,
were
paying to block. Not it's one thing saying like, no, we don't want to get involved in crossplay.
There was the things like what they do with like Fortnite and other ones is where they charge a portion if they below a certain amount of earnings that they're expected on a game on their microtransactions. I, as a person who uses both consoles, if I played on an Xbox even once, but then if I played on a PlayStation once and then I spent 90% of my time on an Xbox, and I bought some microtransactions on. I'm just going to use Fortnite as the example. I'm playing Fortnite, but I'm playing it on my Xbox. I buy my microtransactions on the Xbox. Sony get a percentage of that
because you originally played on.
Because I have played on the PlayStation version.
Oh.
So it's one thing for them to take cuts of things from other consoles, but the fact that they outright pay to block crossplay is obscene. And that's the situation. So we were like, well, we could just buy an S.
Yeah, like it's not a terrible, and it doesn't take up much space.
Yeah, they're tiny.
Yeah, like I was still shocked when I opened my box of how small it was.
Yeah, they really are.
Like I've got comic books bigger than it.
I definitely do. Yeah.
Like your 2 Batman omnibuses there, right? It's probably smaller than them combined, definitely.
Combined, without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a bit fatter than one of them.
Only barely.
Yeah, barely.
Not by much. If it is, I wouldn't put money on the Xbox being bigger than that omnibus. Let me put it that way. Like
it's certainly not taller than it, and it's certainly not wider than it. I think it's just a little bit fatter than it.
Quite possibly, but not by much.
Not by much, no.
Yeah.
But it's the size of a big hardback.
Yeah.
And
I think we've exhausted Microsoft's conference.
Yes, I'll be honest with you. We're approaching 2 hours, so I'm probably just going to ask you, what was your favourite thing of a PC Gamer show?
I honestly don't know because I got bored and turned it off after about an hour and a half. It was really long.
I wasn't long, was I? It was a tough watch.
It was a tough watch. It wasn't anything that was like really bad. It was just like, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah.
It felt long. Like I felt the length of it.
I did it in 2 parts.
I
was just left thinking I could have watched film in this time.
If I look at a quick recap of what was announced, I will be able to.
I really liked that dodgeball RPG that was announced at the very start from Humble Games.
Yeah, I think there was the I don't know what it was called. There was like a War Tales.
War Tales was another one of my.
War Tales and Ixion, which was around that time. That looked pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I got up to EVE Online, so yeah. I missed about a third of the show, it looks like. I don't think I missed anything.
Well, there we go, guys. That's PC Gaming. And on that note, we will join you tomorrow night for Nintendo. We'll probably talk about Capcom and 2K as well. 2K have one, right?
They do, yeah.
So yeah, we shall see you tomorrow.